Today we'll be learning about the distributive property, which is used to multiply a single term and two or more terms inside a set of parentheses, in other words, brackets. So let's go analyze what this word actually means. Distributive. This looks very similar to a word you've seen before, which is distribute. Synonyms for distribute include to give, to share, and to deal out. I want you to keep that in mind when we use this technique. Another point you should notice is there are going to be brackets involved. So you will have numbers inside brackets, something like that. The first question we're going to look at is 20 bracket 48 bracket. You'll notice that there is no operation here. However, you have a number in front of a set of brackets. In between, there's actually a hidden multiplication sign. So the operation here actually is multiplication. Using the distributive property, this 20 is distributed among all the numbers within the brackets. Fortunately for us, the only number in the brackets is 48. So we will write 20 multiplied by 48. If you didn't know, another way of representing a multiplication sign is with a dot. So this dot actually can represent a multiplication sign. At this point, you can go ahead and multiply 20 by 48, which will give us an answer of 960. If you can't do that in your head, go ahead and use a calculator. So 960 is our final answer. In our next question, we're going to look at 6 bracket 80 subtract 1 bracket. Again, you'll notice that there is a number in front of a set of brackets. There is no operation here, but secretly there is a multiplication sign. Using the distributive property, we're going to distribute this 6 to everything within the brackets. There are different ways of doing this question. I'm going to show you how I do it. The first thing you want to do is multiply 6 by 80. So let's do that on the side. 6 multiplied by 80. 6 times 80 is 480. Therefore, the first number you're going to write down is 480. That's where this 480 is coming from. I'm just going to make a little squiggle here to make it more clear where 480 is coming from. Let's make some space for ourselves. Let's scroll out. The next set of numbers we're going to deal with is 6 and negative 1. Let's do the work on the side. So we have 6 multiplied by negative 1. Just like our previous lesson, we want to multiply the numbers. 6 times 1 is 6, and you have a positive number multiplied by a negative number. The answer is going to be negative. So negative 6. What am I going to do with this negative 6? I'm going to put this negative 6 over here. So that is where this negative 6 is coming from. Once you have 480 subtract 6, this becomes a very easy question, and the answer is 474. And I'll put a box around my final answer. The next question we're going to look at is negative 0.6 bracket 10 subtract 0.3 bracket. First thing you should notice is that there is a number in front of a pair of brackets. There secretly is a multiplication sign here. Once we do that, we're going to take a look at the number which is in front of the pair of brackets, negative 0.6, and we're going to distribute it to everything else within the brackets. Let's make some space for ourselves. I'm just going to scroll out, and we're going to do the work on the side. The first two numbers we're going to look at are negative 0.6 multiplied by 10. 0.6 times 10 is 6. Now we're going to deal with the signs. You have a negative number multiplied by a positive number. Therefore, the final answer is going to be negative. Let's go ahead and transfer that over here. And I'm just going to write a little squiggle to show you where that 6 is coming from. Next, I'm going to look at the other two sets of numbers. So I have negative 0.6 multiplied by negative 0.3. You want to look at the numbers first. So 0.6 multiplied by 0.3 is 0.18. You can find that answer using your calculator. Afterwards, we're going to look at the signs. When you have a negative number multiplied by a negative number, the answer actually is positive. However, I'm not going to write in the positive sign in my rough work. I will, however, write it over here. Because if I just slop down 0.18, it looks kind of confusing because there's nothing between the negative 6 and 0.18. So you do need to write your positive sign there. And I'm just going to show you where this 0.18 is coming from. This leaves us negative 6 plus 0.18. I'm just going to scroll out to make some space. You can throw this into your calculator to find the answer. I'm going to show you how to do this with the number line. We are going to put our 0 over here. Negative 6 is over there. You're adding 0.18. When you add, you're going further to the right by 0.18. You're going to end up at negative 5.82. Therefore, our final answer is going to be negative 5.82. I'm going to put a box around it to indicate that is my final answer. In our last question, we have 4 bracket 3 plus 0.9 subtract 0.02 bracket. Again, you'll notice that there's a number in front of a pair of brackets, which means the operation actually is multiplication. I'm going to make a little bit of space for myself. Remember, you're going to use the distributive property in this question. This 4 is going to be distributed to everything within the brackets. Let's go ahead and do the work on the side. I'm just going to scroll out to make some space for myself. Let's start with 4 and 3. We have 4 multiplied by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Afterwards, let's look at the signs. These are both positive numbers. When you multiply a positive number by a positive number, the answer is going to be positive. Let's go ahead and transfer our answer over to the left. Let's look at the next set of numbers. We have 4 multiplied by 0.9. This is positive 0.9. I'm not going to write in the positive sign for my rough work as it's redundant. So 4 times 0.9 is 3.6. Again, you have a positive number multiplied by a positive number, which will leave us a positive number as our final answer. We're going to go ahead and transfer that to the left. However, we can't just slap down this 3.6 because it looks really confusing. There's nothing between 12 and 3.6. Therefore, you're actually going to write in the positive sign over here because you need it. Let's go ahead and look at our last set of numbers. We have 4 multiplied by negative 0.02. First off, let's just deal with the numbers. We have 4 multiplied by 0.02. You can use a calculator for this if you need to. The answer is going to be 0.08. Afterwards, let's look at the signs. We have a positive number multiplied by a negative number, which means our final answer is going to be negative. I'm going to take this negative 0.08 and I'm going to transfer it to the left, negative 0.08. So we're left with 12 plus 3.6 subtract 0.08. If you want to, you can solve this with your calculator in one step, or you can use multiple steps. I'm just going to write multiple steps. So the first thing we're going to look at is 12 plus 3.6. that gives us 15.6. I'm just going to make little arrows to show you how we got 15.6. This negative 0.08 tags along. The last step is to take 15.6 and subtract 0.08 from it, which will leave us 15.52 as our final answer.